And welcome to On the Radar. I am Paul Mireles.
And I'm Ryan Shoptaugh.
All right, and now that you're on the radar, well, we're going to take you beyond the forecast. Here on the Radar, we talk about all kinds of weather things. We've got lots of video, and not just the video, but we explain it and kind of add a little bit extra to it. Plus, we've got explainers and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, a little bit of detail because not everything is just black and white. It requires a little bit of context. And
Right.
with the weather and meteorology, Paul, you know, there's explaining to do.
We've got some explaining.
We do.
To do. Yes, we do. First is we're going to take you out to California.
Yeah, we're going to the West Coast because this time of year, and even all throughout the year, it can get pretty active from the Pacific Northwest towards California. Matter of fact, here is video, aerial footage of Southern California. Series of different wet weather patterns moved in, and it started off as light rain, as you can see right there. But eventually it intensified as the days went on. This weather system produced at least 3 to 6 inches of rainfall across Southern California. Local officials took precautions ahead of the heavy rain, including the installation of extra K-rails to divert possible debris flows and issuing evacuation warnings for high-risk areas, including recent burn scars.
Wow, look at that. I mean, it's wet.
Yeah, you know, California, it's usually perfect. Beautiful
Nice weather usually.
Yeah, usually. That's why people move there. But
right.
whenever they do get rain, it can provide, slowdowns and concerns, right, Paul?
Yeah, when it rains, it pours in Southern California. Now, this was on the 13th. I thought this was very, very interesting because at the same day, believe it or not, it looks like 2 different days, but on the eastern part of the state there, pretty close to the Nevada border, of course, this is called the Pack Fire, scorched 3,400 acres, and it was over in Mono County, M-O-N-O. I've never heard of it before, but it's in far eastern California, right there on the Nevada border. Same day. Incredible because L.A. looked totally wet, and this looks totally dry.
Right.
But due to extreme weather, air tankers, though, because of all that rain in the western part of the state, they were grounded, and they were unavailable to assist in the firefighting here in Mono County,
Look
California.
at how dry the grass is. That just acts as fuel. You know, it just spreads
Whatever
so
grass
rapidly.
is there, I mean, that's a desert out there.
Yeah, and the farther east you go in California, it becomes more desert-like, and you can kind of see that by the grass. And also the hilly topography that can help with the downsloping winds, and that helps fuel fires as well. So that's another reason why, California gets nice weather, active weather, and also wildfire weather. So, I mean, just different microclimates, different weather patterns, and it can be a difficult place to live.
Well, one thing that doesn't help this area is they're kind of in the rain shadow of the Sierra Nevada.
Oh, so right. So the you're talking about like the lee side of the mountains, and then the rain, and that moves down.
That's that's probably one of the reasons why they didn't see as much rain there as the western part of the state.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of California, they are underneath, a risk of flooding because of something we call atmospheric rivers. You've heard of that, Paul, right?
Yes. Be honest with you, and this is kind of me. I think it's overused a little bit.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. But I don't want to ruin the fun.
Yeah. Well, so when you say that, just because they get rain, sometimes.
Well, every storm system that comes out there in the Pacific is not an atmospheric river.
Right. It's a very specific.
But it sounds great,
pattern.
And in this case, it could have very well been. But I think a lot of these cutoff lows, you can't just say, hey, there's the atmospheric river headed our way. But anyway.
Because, it has to.
Don't let me ruin the fun.
No, you never ruin the fun. You bring the fun. But usually it's like a conveyor belt of moisture from like Hawaii to California, right? That they call it the
Pineapple Express.
Yeah,
good movie, by the way.
Yeah, Jinx. And that usually brings heavy rain and flooding in the atmospheric weather events to California. So let's talk about it. And here's some video. Winter storm preparations aren't just done before weather events. Atmospheric river researchers provide critical work and data. And lead engineer Doug Alden with the Center for Western Weather and Water Extremes traveled from San Diego to launch weather balloons, which you'll see in just a little bit. And weather balloons, radiosondes, all that good data helps collect the crucial data we put into weather forecast models and helps guide reservoir operations in California because of atmospheric river events. So Paul, you've
doing some big work over there.
Yeah, you've launched weather balloons before.
I have. Yeah, I've gone to the National Weather Service and launched before.
Yeah, and
it's been a long time.
And there's the data it provides: dew points, temperatures,
all
pressure,
kinds of stuff.
humidity, you name it. So,
and that thing will expand as it goes higher in the atmosphere.
For those who don't know, Paul, how far in the atmosphere do these balloons, these weather balloons, go?
Oh my goodness! I mean, way up there, like way above, like I think 50 millibars or something. Which I know that for most folks, I would say like
45 to
50,000 feet, something like that. Maybe even 60,000 feet.
And
maybe even higher than that.
And for those wondering, why do we need a vertical profile of the atmosphere? What does that provide? Especially if it's just one data point.
Provides all kinds of information. I mean, like wind direction, wind speed,
and especially
temperature,
if you know
humidity.
What's happening upstream or farther west, where the weather patterns like kind of originate.
Yeah.
You can know like what's heading in your direction. And,
yeah. If we didn't have all these weather balloons, I don't think the computer models wouldn't be nearly as good.
They wouldn't.
No.
Yeah.
You got all that information that's fed into those. So really interesting stuff there.
Yeah. And so the next little explainer. So we talked about atmospheric rivers, and we're going to actually explain it. So here's a little graphic on it. So we talked about how sometimes it can form a conveyor belt of moisture. It's similar to an actual river, Paul. The river in the atmosphere is a large, narrow, continuous.
I kind of figured you would kind of use that as an example.
I mean, it helps, but it's just in the sky, you know.
I love it.
But you know, it really impacts mainly Southern California, right? It doesn't really. I mean, it can impact Northern California depending on the trough and the weather set up along the western
Well, I mean,
coast.
you can see atmospheric rivers, Oregon, Washington State, not just California.
I think it's unique to Southern and Central California because of the mountain range, and that can provide problems with flooding because of it just funneling down.
Not only that, but a ton of snow up there in the Sierra Nevada.
Yeah, but depending on the duration of an atmospheric river, for example, it can produce very heavy snow, flooding, and mudslides, which is why California is just known to have so many different weather concerns, weather events. I mean, you talk about higher
all
elevation
kinds of stuff
snow.
going on.
Yeah, yeah. So, the moisture cools, it condenses, it produces rain, and if it's cold enough in the higher elevations, it can produce snow.
And a lot of snow.
Yeah,
a ton of snow.
There's a lot of resorts up there that you can go snowing and skiing. Skiing and snowboarding.
By the way, you've been to Tahoe, right?
I've been to Lake Tahoe. Yeah,
I've been to Lake Tahoe too. Man, I tell you, it's beautiful.
No,
absolutely beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I want to go back.
I haven't been there in the winter. I mean, I've been there kind of in the winter, but it wasn't like snow like everywhere. You know, like a ton of snow.
You know, it's kind of a random story, but we went recently. It was snowy, and then a couple of days later, it cleared out, and we went snowboarding and skiing when it was sunny outside. And I remember my my goggles weren't UV protected, and the reflection of the sun from the snow it fried my eyes. Yeah, so you have to make sure you have proper eyewear when you go skiing and snowboarding because that can hurt your eyes.
One of the worst sunburns you can get.
Yeah,
I
remember my eyes were foggy, and I had to take a break for a whole day. A little story and a little tidbit.
So you closed your eyes most of the time.
Yeah, that's why I fell so much.
That wasn't a lot of. That wasn't a lot of fun. I bet
it was a good time.
Okay, all right. Let's switch gears a little bit. We're going to go out to Taiwan.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a big typhoon there. Residents cleared the debris and damage from their homes in Taiwan because they had just so much heavy rainfall fell on the island from a tropical depression that caused flooding. Of course, there was landslides. Total of 95 people were injured, which is it's a lot of folks there from that typhoon. Authorities evacuated 8,500 people from coastal and mountainous regions as Storm Feng Wang approached. Northern coastal areas around the city of, I think that's Ilan, is the way you pronounce it, I think, have had over a meter of rain. I had to look this up because I'm not used to using
meters. Yeah.
You want to take a guess without looking?
A meter of rain?
Yes. How much is that in inches?
Oh, man.
It was actually a little over a meter.
I'm gonna guess 12 to 20 inches.
Okay. Well,
it's a lot of rain for tropical.
It's close to 40.
Oh my goodness,
that's a lot.
Okay.
Of rainfall, which I mean, it's possible. I think the state record here in Texas is from
Harvey.
The city of Alvin.
Oh really?
I think the city of Alvin, and it was about like that. So, anyway, let's see. Feng Wang made landfall in the Philippines as a super typhoon, causing all kinds of floods with 27 deaths. But, of course, it lost its strength as it approached Taiwan. But you can see what happened to Taiwan. Lots of flooding.
The West Pacific, I mean, just being slammed by so many storms, not just this year, but the last few years, from the Philippines to Taiwan. I mean, West Pacific just so active.
Before we started doing this show, I knew that it was pretty active. I didn't realize just how active.
Right.
I mean, they have all kinds of natural disasters over there. My goodness.
Yeah, it's a problem. I remember one of the recent trivia games we did, Paul. I mean, I think the Philippines last November was slammed by like 4 to 5 different typhoons in 1 month.
Unbelievable.
So it just shows you how active the West Pacific is. They deal with typhoons, tropical cyclones. So yeah, it's active on that side of the world. Now we're going to keep going with the theme of typhoons. Now take a look at this video. This is incredible. A bridge in the Philippines was impassable after being submerged by an overflowing river as the country was hit by Typhoon Feng Wang, known locally as Yuan, on Sunday, November 9th. Now, footage released by police in this province of the Philippines shows fast-moving water and high water levels flowing over the bridge. It wasn't passable, as you can see. I mean, this just impacts travel significantly.
As I'm looking, it looks like the water at this point is not quite over the bridge. It's like it's almost.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, because if you're off that bridge, man, you're gone.
Yeah, but and it just looks like the water height is just up so much. I mean, that looks like it could be feet deep.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like just how fast
I'm thinking that's like 30 feet deep.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would be no fun whatsoever.
Yeah, so that's the video from a typhoon, the byproduct and the result of it from, again, from the West Pacific. It's just so busy in the late fall season in the Northern Hemisphere.
Well, I hope those folks, I hope they're okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan, you play softball?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to give you a softball here because we do a thing called forecast or falsecast.
Usually, yeah.
Are there Ryan? Are there tornadoes in Brazil? Can there be?
I would assume no, but tornadoes can happen anywhere across the world. They're just a little bit more unique to the North American.
I'm throwing
region.
You a softball.
Yeah, I'll catch.
Is that?
It can happen? Yes.
Okay, there you go.
It can happen.
All right,
it can happen.
So it's forecast.
Yeah, forecast. Yeah.
There we go. Okay, yeah, they did have a tornado there in Brazil. It doesn't happen all that often, but look at this. It was a pretty powerful one. Rebuilding efforts continued in Rio Bonito in southern Brazil, which was hit by a powerful tornado, killing 7 people and injured hundreds more. Yeah, from looking at the video, you could tell.
I mean, that's a massive tornado.
Yeah. Government crews and volunteers clearing up debris from the streets. Lots of new homes were built, but, of course, they don't look so good now. Let's see. The tornado hit speeds of more than 155 miles per hour. What would that be? EF 155. That's pretty strong. Like 3.
EF 3 or 4.
Yeah,
somewhere in that range.
Down trees, overturned vehicles. According to civil defense authorities, about 1,800 people were affected by the tornado across the states of Paraná and Rio Grande do Sul, which is south, I guess, right?
Yeah. And I mean, those roofs, infrastructure, all those buildings just completely not all the way wiped out. But look at, even the tree limbs just completely overtaken. And that's tornadic damage for sure in Brazil, of all places.
So if you're watching, now you can tell people, hey, tornadoes do hit Brazil. That's a pretty intense. Thoughts and prayers out to those guys.
Well, it's tropical in Brazil, so that's one factor, the humidity that can help with fueling thunderstorms, and it's near the equator, so thunderstorms can get intense. I just didn't think they could rotate into that fashion.
Yeah. Having said that, it can't be really close to the equator because I don't think there's any tornadoes along the equator.
Yeah,
it'd probably have to be like northern Brazil,
right?
I'm thinking
a little bit
because you've got to get because there's not enough spin. You don't have enough spin if you're right there at the equator.
That's a good point.
So that's my guess. I'll have to look it up.
That's a good point. But still in Brazil, this is also additional, damage from similar tornadoes. I mean, it wasn't just one; there were several, and these thunderstorms really wreaked havoc across Brazil. So take a look. A local man could be seen taking a quiet moment to survey the damage in Rio Bonito, a Brazilian municipality that was hit by a powerful tornado on November 8th. Destroying,
it's the same one, probably.
I think so. Destroying most of the town and killing at least 6 people. Footage here was recorded by Instagram user at s.sabernac. She told Storyful it shows her grandfather who owned the destroyed gym. So, man, I mean, take a look at that, Paul. That's incredible.
Yeah,
I mean, really that's his whole life's work. And the thing is, I mean, the United States sees these happen in Oklahoma, the Southeast, the Midwest, and it's just incredible to think and to see that there is tornado damage to this extent farther south in South America. So,
yeah, you know, these things happen, and you know, we report on them, we talk about them, but they do impact people's lives, and that's horrible.
Yeah.
But hopefully, some of that equipment it can be
salvaged
because it was heavy. You know.
Yeah. It looks like the exterior is what's most damaged, but hopefully, what's inside he can continue to use.
All right. Yeah. Well, again, I hope those folks in Brazil. Hope they were okay. Yeah. All right, we're going into Northern Lights, and not only Northern Lights, but Southern Lights.
Oh, there's two different kinds.
Is there such a thing as Southern Lights?
Okay.
Well, we're going to talk about it. That's coming up when On the Radar returns.
Welcome back to On the Radar, Beyond the Forecast. And this next story, Paul, we're going beyond because we're not just going to the North Pole. We're going to different poles because as...
So there's only 2.
Yeah, there's not 3. There's only two, Ryan. So we're starting off in the Northern Hemisphere. And matter of fact, there were so many states. I think all 50 states with this last Aurora...
Was that true? All 50?
I believe so. I saw an AccuWeather post
I don't know about Hawaii?
Well, yeah, well, okay, good point. But most of the lower 48.
There you go.
That's better. Saw Northern Lights, the Aurora Lights, which is unique because they rarely travel this far south.
Rarely. It has to be one heck of a geomagnetic storm for us to see them far south.
Yeah, so this is video from Lynn County, Iowa. A G4, as Paul mentioned, a G4 storm moved through the globe, from both poles. And then a G4 severe watch was posted for November 12th. A mostly clear sky can be seen in eastern Iowa, which helped aid in the viewing visibility. And what's so cool about this shot is just the different colors. Yeah. Usually you just see green, but you can see red and maybe a little bit of yellow and orange embedded in there as well.
I wonder if the director can stop that video. Probably not.
But it's looping, so it's okay.
But notice how it's stacked up. Usually, if I'm not mistaken, like the northern part of the country, Iowa, and then South Dakotas and the Dakotas up there in Minnesota.
Yeah.
Usually when they see northern lights, it's that pink. Because
usually it's like a red or
right when you start seeing the greens and the yellows,
you're farther north.
It's more like overhead,
based on altitude, and
it's more overhead. And then I think if it's really intense, like sometimes it can even be like blue shade, but you wouldn't see those in the United States. It'd probably be in Canada or something. But here, in the southern part of the country, if you see the northern lights, it's usually just that pink.
Yeah, but I think
the very top, the very edge of the northern lights.
But most of the lower 48 saw it. Texas saw a little bit of viewing. It required a camera. It was hard to see with the naked eye the farther south you went. But camera photography, different ISO settings helps capture these fun moments on camera.
If the camera can only see it, did it really? I mean, did
you really see it? Well, that's a great philosophical question, Paul. I mean,
hey, I'm looking at the northern lights. I can't see them, but
my phone,
but my camera can.
But Instagram can.
But I don't know. Instagram can see it.
It's a great question.
Because but anyway, all right. So southern hemisphere, yes, pink hues shown over Canberra, which is in Australia, between November 12th and the 13th, as this geomagnetic storm, the same one, went over the poles, both north and south poles. Time-lapse footage shows the Aurora Australis.
Wow.
So you're used to the Aurora Borealis, but this is the Australis. And stars danced with Mount Stromio Observatory west of the capital.
So they're not different names based on different hemispheres.
Here, I'm glad you asked that question. because this is where we take you beyond. And we're almost going to go to infinity and beyond on this one. Okay, this is extra credit for everybody. Borealis.
Yeah.
Aurora Borealis.
The hard.
What does that? What does that mean? Borealis is Latin for a certain word.
Light.
Wrong.
Okay. False cast.
Northern. Borealis is northern.
Okay.
So here we go. You ought to get this one. The Latin word for Australis
is southern. It's south.
There you go.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's the Aurora Australis in the southern and Borealis in the north.
It's a tongue twister. Well, you're struggling.
Well, just about anything's tongue twister for me sometimes. But.
That's cool. I mean, beautiful, vibrant pink colors. A lot different than what we were seeing.
See, there we go. That tells me that they're further north in Australia because it would be the opposite.
Well, they're farther south.
No, well,
yes,
I don't know
because you're going to the southern
hemisphere.
South Pole. You're in the southern hemisphere, so you're going south to go to the pole.
Well, that's a good question,
right?
That's a good question
because
isn't south always south? Because it's the South Pole.
But when we go north, it's the North Pole, so they have to go south to the South Pole, towards Antarctica.
Right. So therefore, if you're further away, you're actually going north.
Man, you are confusing me. I don't know. I thought this was straightforward, but you're.
You know what? Let's change the subject.
Okay. Beautiful video.
This is one thing. Because this is one thing that I don't know.
I think you made it more complicated than it had to be, but maybe you're correct. Maybe we'll have another.
We'll look that up.
We'll have another conversation on this
version of.
But we're going to stay on the topic of Northern Lights. As a matter of fact, how does this happen? How does this occur? How does this originate? It starts with, as Paul mentioned, magnetic storms and solar flares that come off our star. Those solar flares, the charged particles
off of our star. People don't know. Some may not know that the sun is a star.
It is a star, and those charged particles move towards the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere. The North and South Pole, and those particles help produce those vibrant colors you see in the northern latitudes and the far southern latitudes, just depending on how you look at it. And also, based on altitude, dictates the color. So, for example, above 200
this is what we were talking
kilometers.
About just a second ago.
Yeah, the red colors are above 200 kilometers.
That explains why further south you are, you can only see the very tops. The pink color.
But it seems like, the higher altitudes are the red colors. And let's see, as it changes.
Kind of the middle would be the green, I guess.
Let it play out right there. And then the lower latitudes are more of the pink and green colors. So below 100 kilometers, for example. And the green is between 100 and 200 kilometers. So that's pretty cool. It's a little explainer on the different spectrum of colors you can see in the Northern Lights.
Yep. Very nice. Okay, so talking about northern.
Okay.
Snow.
Oh.
Yeah. In New York, they had some snow. Of course, it happens from time to time. But
new.
We're going to talk about this because it's new for the season. And that was a big time storm. So we'll talk about that and some other things. Plus, we got a little kicker for you at the very end you're going to enjoy. That's coming up when On the Radar returns. Welcome back to On the Radar. Okay, we were talking about New York. They picked up some snow, which
it's not out of the ordinary.
It's not
out
of the ordinary.
It happens, as they know.
But when it's the first time, that makes it special.
Unique.
That makes it special, right? Okay, snow has returned to central New York. It's the first widespread snowfall of the season. Some younger people were preparing to make fun in the winter weather. 12-year-old Zachary said, "I woke up this morning, saw snow, and knew today was going to be an awesome day." Others are preparing for the winter weather supplies. The Ace Hardware in Fulton, New York, had been stocking up on snow supplies since the summer, of course. Currently, they have about 600 bags of salt in their inventory. They got a lot of salt there, according to one employee, Renee Robillard. The store sells pallets of the salt for snow days. In the past couple of days, many neighbors have come to the store to stock up on their supplies. But last year, Central New York had a salt shortage, so not this year. This year, they're ready, and they're ready for the first snow of the season.
Question. I'm from Texas, Paul, and so are you.
So am I.
that looks like a dry snow, correct? Versus a wet snow.
Looks a little powdery. I tell you what, I wouldn't want to shovel like that though.
You know, I would love to visit snow. I don't know if I could live in it. It's just a different level, and you got to account for like 3 hours before you go to work every day, and you got to keep up with the weather, which I think meteorologists, they work hard in the Midwest, the Northeast, because they get those lows moving across the country, and even the nor'easters can impact the Northeast.
I tell you one thing, and I'm sure this is a nightmare for guys that forecast snow up across the northern part of the country.
Oh yeah,
they call for a snow day. And they're supposed to pick up 4 or 5 inches of snow, and then they don't see any, and then the kids are going to school. Boy, that's got to be really tough.
Another question, Paul.
Yes.
The rain ratio. So
1 to 10.
Is it 1 to 10? So 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow.
Mm-hmm. Usually.
But
then you got all kinds of different ways of
interpreting.
Sometimes it could be more. Sometimes it could be less.
Right. It's just kind of a gauge. It's a rule of thumb. Right. Okay. Yeah. So
1 to 10. So an inch.
So it's easy to get 4 to 5 if it's like a strong baroclinic low moving across the Northeast.
Low storm systems, any one location, what do you usually pick up? 1/4 inch of rain
to half an inch of rain. So that could easily
2
add
to
up.
5 inches.
Right. That can easily add up to 4 to 5 inches of snowfall.
Yeah.
All right. So more snow video, because it wasn't just in New York. It was across several different states. This video is from West Virginia, specifically in Davis.
Wow, that's pretty.
I think this is a pretty shot.
Country roads.
Country roads. That's not so pretty. That's a snowstorm right there, and the winds are howling. They're probably moving pretty quick.
I did what I just said, but anyway.
No, I was singing along with you.
You know the song.
Take me home, take me home. Yeah.
We messed up the words, but
sorry about that.
It's John Denver. Sorry.
No. I thought it was Take Me Home.
Mountain Mama.
Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, anyway. But yeah, that's from West Virginia and Davis. Snow-covered roads in parts of West Virginia. 10 to 15 inches of snow were reported in the Davis Valley areas. Windy conditions, snow-covering roads. It's a different climate up there, Paul.
Oh, yeah.
They get a lot different weather up in West Virginia.
Yeah, you got the Mountain Mama was snowy. Yeah, I like that. Okay. Speaking of more snow, of course, we're getting to that season. Bowling Green, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. They had their first real taste of winter with snowflakes falling and ice-cold temperatures as the colder months become more of a reality. This is something you need to think about. It's important to keep in mind the best ways to protect your pets during the winter season, okay? So here's the deal. You bundle yourself up with extra blankets and jackets, so it's important to think about our little furry friends as well. Outdoor pets can especially suffer during the colder months, so providing them with adequate shelter goes a long way, but just not any kind of shelter. Make sure that it's dry with some sort of insulation, maybe hay or something like that, straw. Yeah. That'll work. And also, here's another thing. Be careful with the antifreeze.
Oh, true.
Because
dogs can get close to the unit.
What I understand is that it's sweet.
Oh,
it tastes sweet.
And they're attracted to it.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
If it gets too cold, maybe even bring them inside.
Yeah, you have to, man. I don't mean to get too dark, but
Hold on a second. Why do we need to get dark at all? Hey, just those words alone. I think maybe we need to just move on.
I want to say it. It bothers me when we go into the winter and we're expecting a freeze, and you're driving around and you see pets in the backyard or in the front yard, and it just gets too cold for them. And some people leave them outside, so you really have to, what's the 4 Ps, Paul? Is it pets?
Well,
people,
pets first. I would think.
Yeah, people, pets, plants,
plants, and pipes.
So you can't forget about the pets, man, because they have fur. They stay warmer more efficiently, right. But they can still get very cold. So that's a good story.
Thanks for.
I got a little emotional there. I'm so sorry.
No, it's important stuff though.
Yes, it is. But,
okay, so we're gonna leave you. We're gonna go from dark to light.
Yes,
leave you with
quite
literally.
Quite literally. Take a look. This is video from California, and it can't be seen.
Is it just this monitor?
I don't know. This is supposed to be a rainbow.
Is it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but it's hard to see. It looks like it's a little too saturated.
I'm hoping that it's just our monitor.
But anyway, video from California showed pretty nice, intense rainbows because of all the atmospheric rivers, the flooding rains, and all that. the rainbows come afterwards.
Where's my 3D glasses? Maybe it's one of those deals.
Maybe,
where you have to have,
yeah. I haven't
some
used
glasses or something to be able to see.
Question, Paul: do rainbows are they based on the viewer and the position where they are and the position of where the sun's hitting the raindrops? Because not everyone sees the rainbows at the same time.
Yeah,
you know?
The light source
It has to be behind you.
The sun has to be behind you,
and then it's hitting the rain droplets
in front of you,
and then the light refracts,
and then each one of those raindrops becomes like a prism.
Yeah,
separates that light.
Yeah. Well, we're sorry that we don't have clear video of the rainbow, but it was there. It was there.
Next time on the Radar, we'll pass out 3D glasses.
We'll have
some kind of glasses where you can decipher.
Yeah, we'll get more rainbow video for on the Radar.
Hey, we promise you it was great video.
We promise. And if you have any cool rainbow video, send it to kensweather@kens5.com because maybe we can include it, Paul, on the next edition of On the Radar, and maybe we'll also include another episode and edition of Forecast or Falsecast, so maybe you can get 100%.
I love that game.
I know. And then we also need to put up another edition of going way back weather. You know,
back weather.
Yeah,
yes.
historic weather events across the country.
Did we do that one time? We only did it once.
We did it one time, but we need to bring it back. So we got to go way back and bring it back.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying? So.
Yep.
But yeah, that's On the Radar, Beyond the Forecast. Again, send in your photos and content to kensweather@kens5.com. But for now, Paul, that is it for this episode.
Great episode, and we will see you next time.